Welcome to the third tutorial in our series, and if you haven't seen the first two, we highly recommend you do that beforehand because these tutorials are based on industry best practices and they build upon each other. So just like you wouldn't take your car to the mechanic and only have the engine fixed, where you also have bald tires and perhaps shoddy brakes, we want to prepare you holistically for buying, transferring, and storing your Bitcoin safely. Okay, so you might be thinking, well, the fuss, I just want to buy Bitcoin and I want to buy Bitcoin now. Well, with a little bit of patience and using security and industry best practices, we'll help you to do that safely and securely, because there's really no point buying Bitcoin if you can't actually secure it or you lose it. There's no recourse, and any search online that reveals articles like these actually shows that it's even difficult for security experts, or at least people who are tech savvy. And I mentioned this article, which I'll put in the description of the video, because it's significant, because this person actually went to great steps to secure their Bitcoin, but they were vulnerable with a couple of areas, and one was their phone and another one was their email. Today's demo will be pretty short. We're going to create a new free email address, and I'm also going to show you an alternative to that. But why should we create a new dedicated email? It seems to be a hassle, seems to be super inconvenient to maintain yet another email address. But if you think about it, your email address is actually 50% of your login. Most websites have a username, which is usually email, and a password. So by creating a new email address that's unidentified and unknown to an attacker, actually reduces the risk of being hacked because they don't know your email address. If you use an existing email address, it's pretty trivial to find out through social media or doing a little bit of web searching. So why give a potential attacker 50% of your login information? Another reason is it's just good security practice. And I have a new email address for each exchange and service that I use. That's perhaps a little bit paranoid, but I'll show you an alternative to that later on. And last but not least, you might not realize it, but your email address and your email address's password is a lot more valuable than you think, and is potentially the most important information that you have. Think about any time you need to reset your password for any website, it's usually going to ask for that password to be sent to an email address. So as you can see from this diagram, and full attribution to Brian Krebs, who is one of the foremost security analysts, and I'll link his information in the details of this video, our email address is linked to pretty much everything. And you might be saying, well, I've got a separate work and personal email address. It doesn't really matter. It's pretty trivial to find out someone's email address through social media and third-party websites, or even a Google search. So why not create a separate unidentified email address? So that avoids a single point of failure, because if someone hacks your email, as you can see, it's pretty much game over. So for me, creating a new email address is pretty much a no-brainer. We're back in Ubuntu, and I'm going to assume that you've got the latest software updates and you're already logged into VPN. You might need to do some trial and error of different VPN locations to see which one is the fastest for you, but once you've decided, stick with it, because one way to get you banned is to log in from several different locations within the space of a couple of minutes. That's a huge red flag for any website, and it could get your account banned. So stick with one location. We're going to go to mail.google.com. You might notice the speed's a little bit slow because you're going through a VPN, and sign up for an account. Now, why Google? Well, Google's definitely the most secure email service out there, but it's definitely the least private email service out there. So remembering why we're using a new email address, it's not for work, or it's not for our daily or personal use, it's purely for cryptocurrency. So if privacy is a concern, then you probably don't want to use Gmail. One alternative is called StartMail, and that's from the same company that bought us StartPage. And that's a search engine that I use every day because it's got privacy inbuilt into it, no ads or tracking or anything like that. They actually offer StartMail. So if you click on that, and unlike Gmail, they actually don't read any of your email or sell it to advertising or log your IP addresses and whatnot. and you can actually sign up for a free trial. I am in no way affiliated with this business. I don't take a commission or anything like that. So if privacy is a concern, then you could try them or do your own research on some of the other free and paid private email services. Okay, so back to Gmail. We're obviously going to create an account. If you are an Android user or have access to someone who has an Android phone, I suggest actually doing this on that phone because you don't need to verify your account through a phone number. You can actually skip that whole step. So it's a lot easier on an Android phone if you have access to it. Here we actually have to verify our number, which is a little bit of a pain and an extra step. So obviously we are going to fill out an information. Now it's up to you as to how anonymous you want to be. It's an email address. You don't necessarily have to fill in details that are true, but that is obviously up to you. So of course I am John Smith, the most popular name in the world. And this is really where it comes down to our unidentified email address. This is probably the most important step. Do not create an account that has anything that links back to you. So not your pet's name, your spouse's name, date of birth, favorite football team, anything like that, because what you want to do is create a completely random, unidentified email address that no one can guess. So I'm going to create something that doesn't make any sense, like say 33 Ubuntu 56. Now that means absolutely nothing. In the next video, we're actually going to look at passwords, but for now, just put in something that you're going to remember. If you've made it to this next screen, it means that the account that you specified hasn't been taken. But obviously if it has, you're going to have to change it, and adding a couple of numbers is probably your best bet, but you want to make sure that you can remember it. It's saying that I'm in Canada, and that's because my VPN is set to Canada, and the phone number is optional, recovery email address is optional, which I don't believe is the case, but let's just skip it for the time being. Choose a date of birth, anything, doesn't really matter. I'm going to choose something completely random. 1901, I'm pretty old. And we can skip the gender. So let's just see what happens when we click next. Okay, I would rather not say. That's it. So unlike in the past, it looks like Google's actually changed their requirements for specifying a phone number and an email address, which was really an anti-spam measure, so I'm surprised that you don't have to do that. Obviously, you can read this, good bedside reading. Click I agree. And we're a business. Now we have a brand new, random, dedicated email address for all our cryptocurrency purposes. And usually we're just using this to log in and occasionally verify a transaction if we need to. Congratulations on your new email address, and see you in the next video.
Thanks for watching. All resources mentioned are in the description of this video. With your Bitcoin Basics video guides purchase, you also gain access to this video series for 30 days, Coin Corner newsletters for 3 months, 20% off any help desk credits for 3 months, Bitcoin Begins booklet, the full edition, PSAs, these are emergency alerts for 3 months as well. Visit coincompass.com and click on Members to gain access to any of the above and to check out our latest news, events, and updates. Any content provided by CoinCompass is for educational and informational purposes only and is not investment, legal, tax, or any other advice. A qualified professional should be consulted before making any financial decisions. CoinCompass is not a money transmitter nor broker, so it cannot buy Bitcoin or any other cryptocurrency assets on your behalf. CoinCompass will at times recommend certain products, services, and technologies, but these are opinions based upon our experience and not endorsements. We take no liability for out-of-date or inaccurate information, software bugs, manufacturing errors, technology misuse, or issues involving third parties.